So potential growth measures the increase in the productive capacity of an economy over a year. It directly links with the production possibility frontier, PPF, and how much the productive potential of the economy is increasing over time. Potential growth means the PPF is shifting to the right, which is outward. So the maximum potential output of the economy is increasing. The productive potential is determined by the factors of production available to an economy, such as labor and capital. So we call it potential growth because the productive potential of that economy is increasing. So that means the PPF of that economy is shifting to the outward. So what will bring about this? Improvement, increase in factors of production. Because without factors of production, we don't talk about output. That's why we say factors of production are the resources that help in the production of goods and services. So a country has to produce goods and services if it really wants to measure its output. So that is what potential growth is about. So your potential growth you will be able to achieve your potential growth if you are able to increase your factors of production. That is the first paragraph there. So going forward, this is the productive potential of an economy is also shown in the long run aggregate supply. That's the long run aggregate supply, LRAS curve. Potential growth is shown by a shift to the right of the PPF and a long run aggregate supply curve. So in some lessons back, we talked about long run aggregate supply curve and how it's been linked to production possibility frontier. So if your production possibility frontier is shifting outward, it simply means that your long run aggregate supply curve is shifting to the right. So an outward shift in your PPF from PPF1 to PPF2 means that there is a rightward shift in your long run aggregate supply from LRAS1 to LRAS3. Do you get the point? That's the point I'm making here. So in figure 3, there's a movement here now. So before I go to the movement, let me quickly finish up here. It said in figure 3, the movement from C to D, that's an outward shift. So an outward shift will bring about from C to shows potential growth. In this case, the productive potential of the economy has increased because the economy has increased its maximum output over a period of time. The productive potential of an economy can only increase if more factors of production become available to an economy or more efficient methods can be used or a combination of the two. An increase in potential growth does not necessarily mean there has been any actual growth. Additionally, actual growth does not necessarily mean there has been an increase in potential growth. Now, there's a difference between actual growth and potential growth. An economy could increase its potential growth, but it does not necessarily mean that you're actually growing. So improvement in output, like improvement in your factors of production like land and labor, might make your PPF to shift rightward, but it does not necessarily mean that you are reaching your actual growth. Why? Because your actual growth is measured when you are able to cover up your productive potential. You are able to cover up your gap. There's a gap within the economy. So this gap, if you are able to cover up that gap, that means you are actually growing. Do you get it or not? Let me read further so you can understand. For example, the PPF may currently be at PPF1. If the economy moves from A to B, or B to C, or A to C, then these movements are all associated with positive output, actual growth. This is the economy. Anything inside the PPF only means that you are able to cover up for your actual growth. Going forward, further than your PPF, is your potential. So you are still in between. So a movement from A to B, or B to C, or A to C, it's all about actual. You have not reached your full potential. Your full potential is at C as D. So you are still from A to C, it's still talking about your actual growth. So until you are able to move further above your actual growth, that is when you talk about potential growth. So the difference between C and D is the output gap.
Yeah. So this one's actual, this is for.
Yes. So here it said, so real GDP has increased because the productive potential remains at PPF. But there has been no potential growth. However, some causes of actual growth are also causes of potential growth. For example, an increase in investment means aggregate demand increases. This will cause actual growth. An increase in investment also causes potential growth if the stock of capital goods in the economy increases or productivity increases. So some factors that causes actual growth might as well cause potential growth. So an increase in investment might allow an economy to move from A to B. And at the same time, an increase in capital goods might allow an economy to go outward, to move outward the gap from C to D. So it's simply about the state of that economy presently. So if an economy is if there are still unused resources within the economy, that means the economy is still within A, B. So because there are still unused resources, and if let's assume the economy is at A, if the economy is able to move to B, the economy is improving, but it has not reached its full potential, but the actual growth is increasing. From B to C, the actual growth is improving. But as soon as the economy moves past the boundary, then there's real growth, which is potential growth. So I think the difference between actual growth and potential growth is clear now. It is actual growth if you are growing within your capacity. It's potential growth if you are able to add up more equipment, more machinery, more investment to reach your full potentials. So potential growth starts when all economic resources are fully utilized. So that ends potential growth. Is it clear there? Well, I still check. Let me just check. Okay, here, let me quickly look at the last paragraph. A PPF can also be used to show the conflict between investment and consumption. One major source of potential economic growth is investment. All other things being equal, ceteris paribus. The greater the level of investment, the higher will be the rate of potential growth. However, increased production of investment goods can only be achieved by a reduction in the production of consumption goods. Why do we have to talk about investment and consumption? A PPF, it's a graph that shows the combination of two goods that can be produced if all resources are fully utilized. So if an economy is investing in capital goods, it would have meant that such economy is reducing its consumer goods. That is the conflicting thing here. You can't invest at the same time consume. It's either you invest or you consume. So however, increased production of investment goods can only be achieved by a reduction in the production of consumption goods. If the economy is at full employment or full employment, so there's a trade-off to be made between consumption now and consumption in the future. So the lower the level of consumption today, now, relative to the level of investment, the higher will be the level of consumption in the future. So there's a trade-off between consumption and investment. If you are investing now, you consume less. So it depends, it's a trade-off. So you decide.
Invest less.
If you decide if your economy wants to consume now, if your economy wants to consume now, your investment will be reduced. But if you are thinking about the future, you invest more now, then you consume less now to consume more in the future. So that's the difference between actual growth and potential growth. Any question about that?